My name's Anthony from New South Wales and I'm the proud owner of this 1966 Daimler 2.5 litre V8. This car actually came to me by chance, actually. It wasn't something that I went out to find. It was sort of a, I guess a gift. It was meant to happen. It was an old client of mine. It was his mother's car. Her husband had a Rolls Royce and he wouldn't allow her to drive his Rolls Royce. So what she did, she went over to England to buy a Daimler, and she picked the tree out and knocked the tree down for the timber in the car. She passed away, unfortunately, and the son offered the car to me, which I gladly took on to the stable. They're not worth a lot of money, but they're great. It's a great provenance and a great heritage, and something that I'm very proud to own. It is an Australian vehicle. Might have been made in England, but it was actually a vehicle that was bought by an Australian for Australia. So it's a bit of Australian motoring history, and I'd like to share that with as many people as possible. This is the last engine and gearbox that Daimler made themselves, so it's a pretty special model, although it's in a Jaguar Mark II body, so, it's got a good combination.
2012 marks the 50th anniversary of the V8 Daimler saloons, the first British manufacturer of motorised vehicles. Founded in 1893, Daimler was bought by Jaguar in 1960. The Daimler V8 is essentially a Mark II Jaguar body mated to a 2.5 litre Daimler V8 from the SP250. This was the last Daimler engine car before switching to the Jaguar engine in 1968. Coinciding with the anniversary, Anthony's Daimler will be appearing at the 2012 Motorclassica show.
It's its 50th year anniversary worldwide, and the Daimler clubs have a special 50th year anniversary at the All British Day this year. So when I was invited to take it down to Motorclassica this year, I thought, well, it would be a nice touch. A car that I brought previously to the Motorclassica was its 50th year, and this one's 50th year as well. So it's uncanny and meant to be, and that's the way I see it. I've got a vehicle that was pretty much original. The only things that I've had to do to it is change a water pump, get the cooling system sorted, because it's all cast iron blocks, those things, they rust away internally. I recently just got the car polished about 2 weeks ago, and usually my previous provider, the polish would sort of go off a little bit. Currently now, this has been 3 weeks and it's as good as new. I was previously using a different brand. I probably only use 10% of that brand, and Autoglym probably 80 to 90% now, because I find their products are universal, especially the window cleaner, which is a soft, milky texture. I can use that on the chrome. I can use it on a multitude of preps.
Paintwork today is designed to look glossy and great all the time. It's got a clear on it, and that's what it's designed to do. Older vehicles, they don't have that clear on it, so they're more susceptible to things like oxidization and contaminants on the paintwork. So from a car care perspective, the main focus is trying to restore that and bringing it back to looking like new. If you feel roughness in the paintwork, they need to be taken out to give yourself a really great gloss, and that's where clay bar comes in. Autoglym's clay system is fantastic. It's very, very simple to use. It's of a very, very high quality, and it's very cost effective as well. So we would start with the clay product, move on to our flagship product, Super Resin Polish, which will bring up the gloss and remove a lot of the scratching and oxidization that exists in older paintwork, particularly those without clears. And then we'd finish it off with a relatively new product in our range, which is called High Definition Wax. And that is an absolutely beautiful wax that's designed to preserve and seal in your paintwork, to prevent contaminants getting back into the paintwork, repel water, and just give you an absolutely fantastic gloss. And it'll last for an exceptionally long time.
People say, oh, why have you got 3 cars and a bike? And it's not because I want to keep collecting different cars. I drive them for different reasons. The Daimler, for example, is, you know, I don't know, if you're feeling regal one day, you jump in the car and off you go. I take the family out and they love it. The leather, the smell of the interior of an English car that's original is like a fine wine. It's just beautiful. And I love jumping in that car. I keep the windows up on purpose just so I can jump in and smell that leather interior. It hasn't been seen in any show in its whole 40 years. So it's a pretty special car, and I'm taking it down to Motorclassica this year, again, to let people see, because it is English, but it is motoring history. You know, it's Australian motoring history. Might not be a HQ or a big V8 Ford, but it's part of, you know, it's spent all its life here in Australia by an Australian.